Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want, the real substance fast.
That's the idea.
And today, we're zeroing in on Bill Gates. We've looked at sources that map his path really from software guy to, well, global philanthropist.
A pretty dramatic shift.
Yeah, so think of this as the quick guide to the two big chapters, Microsoft's beginnings and then his huge philanthropic work.
And the big question we're digging into is, what are the key things, the shortcuts to really grasping his impact?
Exactly. So let's start back in Seattle. Gates as a kid, totally fascinated by computers.
Yeah, the sources really paint a picture of this deep, almost obsessive interest early on. It wasn't just a hobby.
Right. It seems like that directly led to him starting Microsoft with Paul Allen, in 1975?
That's it. And their goal, well, it sounds almost quaint now, but it was massive.
A computer on every desk and in every home.
Yeah, totally radical for the time. And Microsoft's operating systems, MS-DOS, then Windows, they basically built the foundation for personal computing as we know it.
You really can't overstate how central they became. It's huge.
And the sources talk a lot about his intensity back then, that fierce drive.
Not just ideas, but making them happen.
Right, and anticipating the market. There's this story about him, personally checking code late into the night. That kind of dedication.
That tells you something. Okay, so that intense focus, it eventually shifts, doesn't it?
Big time. Fast forward to 2000, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is set up.
And the scale is just, wow. The biggest private foundation on the planet, tackling these enormous global issues.
Exactly. Their main areas are things like wiping out diseases, polio, malaria, improving health globally, education, fighting poverty. It's a huge agenda.
And their method is interesting, too. It's very data-focused.
Very much so. It's not random. They look at the data, they build strategic partnerships, they're in it for the long haul. It's quite calculated.
You see real results, too, like funding vaccines, development, distribution.
Yeah.
That saves lives. Millions, apparently.
Absolutely. And investing in farming research, trying to tackle hunger. It's, very deliberate giving, very strategic.
And it's interesting, while Microsoft sometimes faced criticism for its business stuff.
Right, the antitrust cases and all that.
Yeah. But his philanthropy, the sources seem to suggest it's mostly seen very positively. He's become this major voice for global health.
He really has.
Yeah.
And his pledge to give away most of his fortune, that set a kind of standard, inspired others.
Even though he stepped back from running Microsoft day to day, he's still very much influential. A thought leader.
Oh, definitely. He dives deep into these complex current issues like climate change, AI.
And he's good at breaking down complicated stuff.
Yes, synthesizing a lot of information.
Yeah.
For listeners trying to get up to speed quickly on these big topics, his sort of rigorous approach is, well, it's a useful model in itself.
So it's quite a trajectory we've traced. Programmer, tech giant, global philanthropist.
It really shows how innovation, business success, and a commitment to humanity can sort of come together.
Right. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive for today. But here's something to think about. Considering Gates' whole journey, what's maybe the most surprising way a single person's vision, starting in one area like tech, can end up reshaping totally different parts of the world? For better, or maybe even for worse. Something to mull over.